Well, speaking of your craftsy class and your cake toppers, that's the training that we're going to be doing today. Anne is going to be showing us how to do a cute little sculpted little lion. It's so
Yep.
cute. It's totally Anne Heap. So I was really excited about it.
Oh, good.
All right, so I will just let you, oh, sorry, choking a little bit. I'll let you just take it from here and you can just explain everything.
Okay, so if you know how to use gum paste, obviously this first picture is a little obvious, but we do get a lot of questions from people about coloring gum paste and if it comes colored or not, and if you make your own or purchase it. You can make your own gum paste. We use satinized a lot. We also make some of it ourselves as well for certain different projects. But it does not come colored as far as I know from anywhere, so you do need to color it yourself. The nice thing about coloring it yourself is you have control, obviously, over the shade and color. We use mostly AmeriColor gel colors, and you just add a little bit to your white paste. And if we want a really dark color, I like to sort of start with a little bit and then just add more white to it. And just the one thing you want to keep in mind is to wear gloves because the gel color does stain your hands very badly. And
It does.
yeah, if you're using like black or something, it's really quite disgusting. And you want to have a little vegetable shortening on hand as well, just because otherwise it'll stick to the gloves and to the table. But you want to be aware of not sort of needing too much shortening into your gum paste because it will break down the structure and it won't dry as firmly and as well. So you do want to keep that in mind.
Yeah, and you don't want your pretty cute little piece falling apart on you.
No.
No good.
So
Okay.
yeah, so this is the first step.
All right.
Oh yes, and store the gum paste in a plastic bag.
Oh yeah, that's right, because it will dry out.
It will dry out very quickly, yes. And if you do store it in a plastic bag, it will stay for a long time. So if you don't use all of it right away, we like to store them in like Ziploc bags, and we put them in like old fondant buckets, and they'll last for months. So if it gets too hard, you'll know if it's too hard. You won't be able to knead it. So you can throw it away. But
those fondant and gum paste buckets are really
very
do help
handy.
keep the air out
Yeah.
of things, and they will last longer in those buckets. So
Yes, they will. So for the body, we just start with a ball, and one of the things to keep in mind is when working with gum paste, especially for figure modeling, you want to sort of apply a good amount of pressure to the gum paste so that you get a nice smooth ball or body. You don't want to have a lot of people say, oh, I have cracks. Part of the problem is you're not sort of using enough pressure to when you're rolling it, so it has air bubbles trapped in there. The other thing is sometimes it can be a little dry, so you can actually add water right into your gum paste, and it won't break it down. So you just take a little bit of water and have a little bit of shortening so it doesn't stick, and kind of knead it in. And once it's sort of nice and moist, you'll be able to smooth it out much easier.
great. Those are some good little tips there.
Yeah, and then you just sort of roll one end down a little bit to form like a teardrop shape for the lion body.
Okay. So did you break off two pieces? Is that?
No, this is the same ball. I just kind of rolled the ball into a teardrop, yeah.
Okay.
And then this is just a stitch tool that you can get at a cake supply or Michael's or something like that. And this is for like a cute child's or baby cake. You just stitch up the body and down the back, and it gives it a cute stitched look.
Yeah, I love the cute little figures that have the stitching.
Yeah,
I just think
it's
that's
very
so cute.
sweet, and it adds it's not very hard to do, and it adds like a cute little touch.
It's a really good effect for just not very much work.
Yeah, exactly. So this is just a skewer that we stick through the body and into just a cake dummy. You want to make sure the cake dummy is at least as tall as your cake so that you don't have the skewer running through the bottom of it or something. We like to stick our skewers, our cakes are probably about 4 to 5 inches tall usually, so you want the skewer bottom to be at least 2 or 3 inches, so enough to anchor into the cake. And then we just rolled another ball and stuck it right on the top, and we use a little bit of Tylose glue to adhere the head. And Tylose glue is basically a mixture of Tylose, which is a drying agent. It comes in a powder form, and you just mix basically half and half with warm water, equal amounts, and just stir it until it dissolves, and it works really well to glue gum paste together.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right.
And then these are the little legs. So the way you do these, just roll like a log, And I like to just use a paring knife and just cut them next to each other so they're the same length. And then we just run the stitch tool up the sort of bottom of the foot along the top of the leg. And then I just take a toothpick and I just break it in half, and I just kind of stick a little piece into each end of the leg. And then this way you can use those to anchor into the body. Perfect. And again, we use Tyler's glue with a paintbrush to stick them together.
Okay.
All right, so now we have, did I skip a step here? I don't know, maybe I did. The arms, the arms are the same, they're basically the same thing you do with the legs, or the arms roll a little log. The only difference is you'll see it's up at the shoulder, it's a little bit thinner. So you just want to kind of roll that down a little bit so that you don't have big, bulky, shoulders. And then you just stitch along the outside of the arm as well. And the only difference also with the hand, I think this is in the finished product, we make it more of like a rounded mitt than kind of a straight, but you could do either. It's sort of just an aesthetic look. And then those we don't use, I don't use any toothpick or anything on those because they're kind of stuck to the body, so you can just put a little bit of glue all the way down the inside of the arm and it will stick right to the body and you won't have to worry about any other support. And then the little snout is just a little ball that we just kind of smush and stick on. If you feel like it's not staying on very well, you can put a little toothpick also just so that it holds on a little bit better. And then in this picture, I'm just using a knitting needle, a very small knitting needle, to create the little eye sockets. You can also use a toothpick if you don't have one.
Awesome. I've never thought of the knitting needle thing. That's a really clever idea.
That, actually, for all sorts of things. It's got a nice rounded end, so it kind of leaves a nice, not too sharp hole.
Oh, perfect. That's really clever.
Thanks.
Okay.
And then we just roll tiny little balls of black gum paste and kind of stick them into the sockets. Creating the socket just helps it not look like it's bug-eyed, because if you just stick the balls on the outside, they look like these kind of creepy-looking eyes. And then just a little black nose. And with the lion, we like to put the nose kind of up high on the snout so that it's, it has a kind of a cute, kind of more of a feline look. Although, as you can see right now, what it looks like, if you just added bear ears, you could have a bear also. So it's sort of a multi-purpose figure.
Yeah, he's looking really cute so far.
Thank you.
I like how you put the stitching down his snout. That's really That's really fun.
Yes, so the stitching kind of goes all the way up and down.
Yeah.
Okay, so then here we have it could be a bear. Generally, when we make our bears, we make the snout a little more pointy, but for all practical purposes, this is pretty much similar to a bear. And basically, at this point for the ears, we just roll two tiny little balls, kind of pinch them. You can see where they meet the head. They have a little sort of pinch, and a little bit of glue. And sometimes we'll use just a small floral wire, a little bit of maybe like an 18 or 20 gauge, and just kind of put a little one in there to give it some support. Only because when you go to put the mane on, you want it to be really adhered. Otherwise, they can kind of bump them off.
Okay.
So that adds a little bit of extra stability to it.
Okay. Do you ever worry about, having the supports in there and, a kid taking a bite out of it?
Edibility of it. So we do tell people that all our figures have toothpicks, wires, non-edible supports in them. It is a concern, of course, and we do get some people that are very anti-using non-edible materials in cake anything. But unfortunately, it's not realistic for me, since we deliver our cakes so far away, for them to not have these supports in them. If you're making it at home and you're serving it to your own children, you can easily make this and not have to put all the supports in because it's not going anywhere. But if you're going to be traveling with it, it is a good idea to use them. If you can make it really far ahead of time and you can use the glue and it seems like it's stuck together, you might be able to get away with not using them. But I just like to tell people that they're in there. And to be honest with you, the gum paste dries so hard that you can't really eat it anyway. So it's not like there's really much of a chance of someone taking a bite out of the head. It's very hard. But if you do make it out of modeling chocolate or something like that, it is softer. So you might be able to. I've heard people use spaghetti for supports, and I'm sure you could use that for the ears. I don't think that would be strong enough for the center of support of his body. But maybe for the legs.
Okay. Yeah. Those are good little tips there. Spaghetti might be fun.
Yeah. So this is for the mane, and there are lots of ways you can create a mane. This one's a little bit more challenging. It's got a cute effect. But if you don't want to do this much work, you can also just kind of roll your little orange balls and stick them all around the face, or just kind of do little fringy pieces.
Points.
Yeah, little points, and you can get creative. Or if you're matching an invitation, sometimes they have like circle ones or little triangles. You could even do like royal lacing with the grass tip if you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So what we've done here is we just roll out the gum piece very thinly, and then orange, obviously, and we cut just a thin strip with a pizza cutter or an X-Acto knife, and then we kind of just roll it up into an accordion sort of zigzaggy pattern on its side. And you just let it set up on the table for like I don't know, maybe like a minute.
Okay, so you want it to start to harden.
Just a little bit, yes. It doesn't, when you go to pick it up, it doesn't just fall apart.
Okay.
You can even, depending on the moistness level of your gum paste, if it seems like it's really dry, you can add a little touch of glue between each of the little zigzag pieces to help it stick together.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then what we do is we just put a little bit of glue with a paintbrush sort of on the top of his head. And I do want to point out, because you couldn't see from the first picture, the ear location. You want to make sure you're putting the ear sort of a little further toward the front of his head, because otherwise you won't have room for the mane. And that's one of the things we see a lot when I teach this class. I put them too far back, and then the mane is like back here. It's like a giant forehead. Yeah. So if you do that, don't worry, because you can easily pluck the ears out and move them. But just keep in mind when you're doing it. And then what we do is we just use toothpicks to sort of hold the mane there in place, just temporarily, obviously, until it dries, and then otherwise it sort of starts sliding down the side of the head. And then you can kind of we add like each section around the face like that, and then just add little pieces of toothpick around.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, and there's some more in pieces. Do you ever have a hard time getting the toothpicks out?
No, they come right out. You don't want to stick them too far in, obviously, and make sure there's no glue on them. But yeah, no, they come right out.
Okay.
So yeah, you can see here that sort of.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Do you want me to go back?
No, you don't have to go back.
Okay.
This is just the tail. We just pretty self-explanatory. We just added a little log, stitched it. We put a little use the needle tool at the end, so it looks like it was sort of like pinned on there. And then we just take a little piece and just cut little fringes into it with an X-Acto knife and put it on the end.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
It's the little details like that that make all the difference.
I love the animal tushes.
Aren't they fun?
Yeah, they really are.
Yep. Reminds you of the cute little baby bums.
Yes, exactly.
They're just too cute.
I know.
Oh, look at him.
And there he is, all done. And you can we add sometimes party hats or little bow ties or whatever you want to dress them up. You can add different colors, like on the belly if you want, or little shoes, feet, whatever you want.
Oh, cute. Cute. All right. Okay, so I think that's the tutorial part of things. You're sharing a recipe with us, and we'll, I guess, take a look at that. For those of you that want the instructions for this, it wouldn't all fit on the slide, so I'm going to be putting it up on the website later on today. So if you want to go to our blog, CakeFu.com, and you'll be able to find it there.
Yes.
So, but this looks so yummy.
Yes, I do enjoy crumb cake. It's one of the things that my mom actually and I used to make all the time. So,
that's fun.
Yeah.
To me, that's something same with me. That's the kind of desserts that my mom always liked to make.
Yeah.
The crisps and
right.
The coffee cakes and things like that have that crumbly texture to them.
Nice
Love it.
Food, yeah.
It is. It is. All right, so this one is just a fairly basic cake.
Yeah, it's a basic sort of New York style crumb cake. It's a buttermilk and the cake, so it's very moist. I personally like a lot of crumbs, so this recipe is like literally like this much cake and like that much crumb. So
awesome.
If you don't like that, then you can almost like half the recipe or maybe like by a third reduce it. But I personally I think the crumb is the best part. So
I would make it just this way too.
Yeah, exactly. And I like to sort of, when I make the crumbs, like make giant crumbs, not like little crumbly crumbs, because then it's sort of really delicious.
Yum. All right. That sounds like a really good, and it looks like it's fairly easy to do.
Yes, it's very easy. You melt the butter for the crumbs, and you don't even have to like mix it. Really, you just can mix it with your hands after each melt butter and dump it on top of all the crumb toppings. Do that ahead of time so it's not too warm when you go to put it on, or it will sink to the bottom. So do the crumbs first, and then just make up your cake batter and throw it in your pan. And you can even make muffins, crumb muffins like this.
I was just going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
I bet that you could probably make a muffin out of this.
You can. And you can even spread like a little raspberry jam before you put the crumbs if you want to have that as well.
All right.
Make it more fancy. Yeah.
My bad. I put Amelia's favorite recipe instead of Anne's favorite recipe.
I didn't even notice. Well, see? You're foreseeing that it's going to be your favorite recipe.
I use my one of my old ones as the template for everyone.
Don't worry.
So I'm sorry. This is Anne's favorite recipe, but it would be mine too, I'm sure.
There you go.
Just as well. All right. And like I said, we'll have the instructions on how to put this together on the website.